is out there at the moment sort of naming that they've got some large language model or indeed got some chatbot that's going to solve all your issues?
I think far more companies are marketing the use of AI, how they have a chatbot that's going to revolutionize their industry, than are truly trying to solve problems. For me, I've never met a customer who said, I just wish I could chat with my bank account. I would ask it questions and learn things. Instead, they tend to ask things like, I'd like to pay less for the service I'm paying for. I'd like to automate my accounting, close my books quicker. Those are the kind of things. So I think often, if you see companies claiming AI, but you can't find real customers behind it, they're not talking about how they're integrating AI truly into the workflow of their software. It's probably AI washing.
Okay, so how do you ensure that what you're trying to market, what you're trying to say, doesn't come across as washing?
It really starts first with starting with the customer, trying to understand their pain points. For us, our mission is to help companies spend less money and time. We help the average customer cut their expense by 3.5% per year. And so one of the first things we did is within the user interface, start to show companies where, upon renewal, customers may be getting quoted higher rates than the rest of the market. So if you're paying for a software vendor and another customer is getting 20% less, integrating it into the interface. It's not creating new, novel interfaces people aren't already using, like chat interfaces, but including it in where people do things. Next, having it fade away. We automate expense reports by pulling receipts when available from whether it's email, text messages, so you don't need to add an additional step. I think a lot of great AI is invisible.
So it's sort of running in the background, being far more efficient. You don't suddenly realize how much more productive it's actually made you. From the perspective of which companies are coming to you asking for these sorts of issues, like have you had calls saying, look, I just need to understand what your artificial intelligence offering is, or is it more that they are calling from wherever they are geographically saying, I need to cut expenses in this current economic environment?
It's a great question, certainly the latter. We're supporting over 15,000 businesses, whether it's publicly traded companies like Eventbrite, to Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, to local businesses, and often what they're trying to do is say, look, I'm spending a lot already, whether it's thousands to millions per year. I'd like to cut expenses down. We spend a lot more time on closing our books, on our accountants manually keeping books and records, tagging transactions. Instead, often they're asking, I'd like to cut that time down so controllers can be asking strategic questions about the business, not bogged down in manual work. So it tends to come from the pain point they're actually having, not if there's this new technology, can you find some use for it for me?
What about you, though, as an employer? I think of what IBM came out and said, look, ultimately our back office in particular can be shrunk by at least a third. How are you thinking about either the productivity of your labor or the fact that perhaps you don't have to beef up your own talent pool as much as you thought you did?
Look, if you came to someone and said, we're going to make someone on your sales team able to sell 50% more contracts, you'd say, I want more of that. I'd like to hire more salespeople just like that. And we think that's exactly the case. When you have members of your finance team, for example, that have a lot more time in the day, and they're able not to be tagging receipts, checking on what prices are, but instead getting better deals, closing your books faster, and fundamentally focusing on the strategic areas where you can be investing at higher return on investment. I want more folks like that. I think that's true in sales. I think it's true in finance. I think it's true in any part of an organization. And so I believe people will be more productive over time. And rather than working on low-value tasks, making businesses better, more profitable businesses.